Alrighty. Tonight's episode, guys, is a big one for the Subaru community, Rallysport Direct, and they're one of the most recognizable names in the sport compact aftermarket. A lot of people know what happened recently was a major shift, and it kind of rolled into a private equity-backed group called APG. The same one that bought Grimspeed in 2020, which has now sold again to EPT, which, you guessed it, is the parent company of Cobb. The APG purchase led Justin Grimm, who we've had on, to basically create Overtake and compete with his old business. This is a very common practice in this space. And in 2019, Nitro Circus was acquired by the media company, the Churning Group, or even in November 2021, Donut Media was acquired by Recurrent Ventures, which Dave and I have had opinions on, which we think kind of took them in a different direction that not a lot of people liked. And then, from there, now the new story coming out this week, which is like kind of current events for us, is, Festival Grid Life has been sold and recently was purchased by FMA, which claims to have nothing but good things coming. So just to give you guys a full overview, I wanted to kind of run through this and kind of show you that this is a really common practice, something that happens in this community quite a bit. A lot of these companies are looking for backing, and when they find it, it's tough to gauge what it's going to be like in the aftermath of it. Something in common with all these purchases is that no matter what, something good or bad, there's always change. Change is the leading factor in these purchases. It's always a company that comes in, they purchase the company, and even if they say that things are going to be the same, like any company that gets on the stock market, right? Now you have people invested, people they have a reason to want this company to do well, and it changes things throughout the business. So it leaves a lot of people wondering what comes next. Well, we brought Jeff on because the story is taking a new turn. Rallysport Direct has come out the other side of their APG deal with a new renewed focus on the enthusiasts that built the brand in the first place, you guys, and supporting the community, motorsports, and getting back into grassroots, which I think is really cool. And, Dave, we even saw this firsthand this winter at Snowdrift, where the OK Rally team was driving a blue and yellow Bug-Eye, which is currently backed by Rallysport Direct, which was really cool
awesome
to see.
Guys, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah,
and we got a ton of footage and pictures of them as well, which was really cool. So tonight we're going to dive in. We're talking about the journey, kind of what Rallysport Direct learned from it and what the future kind of looks like now. So joining us is Jeff Foster from Rallysport Direct. Jeff, welcome.
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
And yeah, man, we're going to dive in. I'm really excited to have you on. We've been talking about it for a while. I know that, when we first chatted, I thought it was really interesting how you ended up at Rallysport Direct. I think that, you can shed a little bit of light on how that came about.
For sure, yeah. So I started a company called Circuit Demon in 2015. You guys in Subaru at least may have heard of that. We specialized in custom lighting for mostly Subarus, worked with a lot of like really great influencers, customers. We did Wicked Big Meat and Boxer Fest for 10 years in a row. Or no, sorry, 9 in a row. So yeah, I think that the community overall, like with Circuit Demon, it was my opportunity to kind of shoehorn my way from an enthusiast to be like a business professional in that space. So from there, I was spending a lot of time working. I brought like a new partner in, and they wanted to take the business in a slightly different direction. And at that point too, like I have 2 kids and I spent a lot of time just kind of keeping the wheels turning. So I wanted a little bit of a change. So I went to work for one of the brands that we sold at the time that had, you'll know the name and a few other like super retailers, but it's like a brake line and hose line company. So yeah, I worked with them. It was really fun, like getting to kind of go out. I went to a bunch of Grid Life events, which I know you brought up earlier, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that. But I was out at SEMA this year and had gotten lost on the way to an event. And I actually, somebody right behind me, it seemed like they were kind of lost as well. So I was like, I think I know where to go. You're going there. Yep. Cool. Let's just go there together. So I'm kind of talkative, if you know me, for better or for worse. And I was just chatting with them, like, where are you from? Who are you with? And they're like, oh, you ever heard of like Rallysport Direct? And I was like, yeah, like that's like my thing, right? Like my backyard, the back of my hand. Like I just
right
know
in your
it
wheelhouse.
so well. Totally. Yeah. There you go. Nice pun. So yeah, for me, it was like, I was like, yeah, like they got some stuff going on right now. And he was like, yeah, we actually just acquired them like a few months ago, along with Subi Speed and FT Speed. So I was like, tell me more. Like, I need to, like, who are you? Where are you from? Like, what is all this? And just some background too. It's kind of, I think I told you the other day, Patrick, was recently my first part that I ever bought for any car, performance part, was from Rallysport Direct in 2011. So I actually tried to dig up the other day, the receipt from that, because we all know we have that high school email,
Yeah,
that high school Hotmail account, and I actually found it, and it saved the PDF
Wow.
for
that's
future
amazing.
That's
use. So
cool.
it's crazy. Yeah.
You gotta frame that and hang that up,
I
dude.
know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So it's really cool. Like that, like to me, the brand, and we'll talk more about that. The importance of the brand to me, and like my come up in the Subaru community, and I think what it did for the community as a whole. But yeah, just in talking with them when I first met them, just real positive intention. I mean, saying like enthusiasts, like the owner Darren, like big enthusiast. He drives a BRZ even before like acquiring the brands. VBWX hits the track, like he just loves it, like big Japanese car culture fan.
it's awesome.
So he has like a big background in like B2B aftermarket, selling like more equipment, as well as like a few other kind of ventures. And he was looking for an opportunity to kind of combine that knowledge and skill with more of like his passion, which I think all of us kind of run into that. So yeah, the opportunity came up and he kind of just jumped on it, knowing that there's a lot more that he can provide, or the companies can provide to the community, than what has been happening with the prior ownership. So that's kind of how I like ran into them, just kind of talked to them, let them know I was really interested to hear more about what they're doing in a few different capacities. And yeah, a few weeks later, I was like, you know what? I think this project sounds like something that's kind of right up my alley and something that I can really provide a lot of value to. So yeah,
Mhm.
from there, we just started talking and I found myself here.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing how small this community
Yes.
is. I find it so insane how you could run into anybody anywhere. It's like, Dave and I were at Snowdrift and like we were just running into people left and right that either I
It's
knew or
nuts.
Dave knew, or, you know, the guy Matt who's on the podcast, he just happened to move from Michigan to Denver. So then we dragged him back from Denver to Michigan. It's like, it's just funny how those things work. And like,
Yeah.
you can find Subaru enthusiasts anywhere. I feel like
Yeah.
it's such a significant brand because I feel like there's so much heart in it. Whereas like I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of other brands have gotten lost in the sauce, I'll say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
totally.
and something that I wanted to touch on with you, Jeff, that I found interesting is like part of that is kind of why the APG separation happened to begin with, right? Because it seems like they were looking for a more, I wouldn't say productive, a more, they wanted something that was going to make them more money.
Yeah.
And it seems like, right, that is in the off-road community. You get
Yeah.
all of these Jeep people, and you get all of these off-road people. They want to buy an 8-inch lift kit or, whatever, 10-inch, 5-inch. They want to go and get crash bars with LED lights put in. And, nowadays you see the Jeeps when you get in them, they have the full, it's so crazy to me. You get in the Jeep, it has this bar that goes across the top of the Jeep in the back, and it's all speakers and lights and everything. And it's just like, it just clicks in, and then you just wire everything to like subs
Yeah.
and stuff.
I
And it's
think
like,
Ford does that too with the Bronco.
yeah. And
Really?
so,
They have
and
like options.
A lot of ducks
Yeah.
too. A lot of ducks going
yeah,
on out there,
yeah.
You gotta
Well,
watch out.
Well, what's so interesting to me is that like Subaru, in my opinion, has a huge off-road community,
Yeah.
and they've been pushing it, right? You got all the wilderness cars coming out. You have, dude, you look at
Overland
Raphael.
Expo,
Yeah,
sponsored by Subaru now. Yeah.
you look at Raphael
Yep.
from the Subi New podcast.
The
Look at
man.
the ratio of off-road builds he has come on his podcast
Totally.
versus like WRXs and STIs. Like, dude, it's definitely slanted in one direction. And
Yeah.
I
We've
think
10
said
to
it.
1.
Subaru's doubled down. Crosstrack wilderness, Forester wilderness, Outback wilderness.
dude, Uncharted.
Honestly, I don't know why they haven't come out with a WRX wilderness, because we've had a number of
Yeah.
customers lift
That'd
them
be pretty
too
cool.
and
Yeah.
make some rally cars. I mean, they know they're not going to be rock crawlers like the Jeeps,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry, a WRX with a mild lift on it,
Pretty killer.
Hey, that would be nice
pretty
for
pretty cool.
for the ARA. I'm sure they would love
Yeah.
that. And that's also something that's interesting is that I personally, right, I haven't been somebody who has been a big proponent of the ARA my whole life, right? Like, I know people who have
Yeah.
been in it since day one, they love it. Coming into it, I feel like I'm noticing that, dude, all of this, everything going on is just proving that these companies are coming in and they're trying to make these events more than they are, right? And I feel like ARA is doing a really good job. They're doing better marketing. They're getting more people out there to see the events. I feel like being split between the national and the regional kind of throws people because, for me,
Mm.
right, like we drove out to Michigan to see Travis and to see Rhiannon and to see, and then, now like Dave's going to Rally Colorado. I'm going to STPR out by me. It's a smaller event. It's regional. None of the big names are there, but like still you get to see the big jumps. You get to see all the drivers. You get to meet with them. You get to talk with them. It's such a different event. And I feel like it kind of has its own charm, right? But you look at a company like Grid Life, and all they look at is the up and up, right? It's a festival, get more people involved, get more sponsors involved, build it bigger, better, and then all the investors are happy. And I think,
Can we get Justin Timberlake to headline it?
yeah, but like, dude, that's where it all heads, right? And so, with you guys, with APG and that whole situation, right? Like, you guys were kind of not in the wheelhouse of what they wanted. They wanted to do more. They wanted to get more productive. They wanted to get more
Corporate.
purchases, bigger purchases. They wanted
Yeah.
to get more out of it. And you guys are community first. And it's so tough to come in as a corporate structure and try to keep people friendly and community driven. It's just not easy.
I don't even think it's that. It's like it is, but it's just like losing touch with
Yeah.
reality, right? Like the magic that made something special, like when you get rid of it, like them getting rid of the personalities that made the brands.
Yeah.
That's what people come for. Like the people that own companies, you see like a lot of even outside of automotive is the people that start these brands and make them really special. They leave, and then it's really hard to do the next thing. I
Yeah.
think like even with Apple, right? Like I hear all the time that it lost its way, after Steve Jobs passing.
Yeah.
And like even now, like it's a huge company, and like they make, I think it's like the second most valued company in the world, but still, it's like you hear
Some
all
of
these
that's people
people that
just
are.
holding off because they don't have any other better option.
It's true.
Maybe
It's
there's a
true.
little of that.
Yeah.
It's Apple or Android.
Yeah. But even still, the fact that
It's
like
Coke
so
or
many people
Pepsi.
still say that is like, it's been a long time. I don't know. It's tough. I think yeah, I think private equity is really great at scaling up. I think that's like really what they're made for. So just to kind of mention the Grid Life, I've always wanted to go to Grid Life. I went to the Watkins Glen event a few years ago because that's about an hour and change from me, which is
Mm.
really great in
Yeah.
the summertime.
Love
It was
Watkins
like,
Glen.
yeah, oh, it's awesome. It's the best. Camping, yeah, the town, it's great. But the event got like rained out, so it was like a little crummy, but it's still very cool, right? The cars, the people they had there, the whole paddock was set up with like sim rigs, and I brought my son. He had like a lot of fun.
That's cool.
This past year was like the first real opportunity that I had to like really go out and see the other ones and kind of stay over and camp there and all that. And I mean, they do a great job. They do a really great job. I think it is, for being grassroots, it's as close to feeling professional. The attention that they put in, the details. The competitors are wild. Everyone out
Yeah.
there is like top of what they do. And there was a whole like media conglomerate around that. Like
Yeah.
with Heat Exchanger and a few other Perfect Lap. But I think, yeah, with private equity coming in, I was listening to Dewey's Thursday thing earlier today. They were talking about that, and there's hope. I think the fact that it is a private equity group that is so entrenched in motorsport, I'm a little less worried about it.
Yeah.
The big thing,
That
once
helps.
again, I'm less worried about growing. Like even like with Hyundai, like all the other big like corporate buyouts, there's some changes, like you said, it spurs a lot of change. I think the
Yeah.
bigger issue is when things need to contract, when things aren't, full of jet fuel and
Yeah.
blasting in the atmosphere, when things
Yeah.
start to slow down a little bit, is
And
what companies do. I think that's where private equity struggles a little bit, is because typically what we've seen is they cut people, they cut opportunities, but those are the things that
Mhm.
really make those things special. So I don't have any
Sometimes
worries
you have to
about
weather the storm.
that. But yeah, I think like the strategic calls that private equity groups tend to make don't make sense to us as an enthusiast.
Mhm.
but they just see like in
Yeah.
black and white, like in, you know, in numbers. So
Yeah.
it's
I
tough.
think I think that an interesting thing about private equity and the companies that they buy is that buying a media company is very different than buying a parts company or
Yeah.
buying something like Grid Life, right? Like you look at a media company like Donut Media when they sold, so many people gave backlash on that. And it was because they either didn't like the content that was coming out or they felt like it had changed direction. I was a big proponent of Donut. I watched them a ton. Like I love
Totally.
Dude, the FRS that they put the Lambo engine in, like, or the, Ferrari engine, I was hooked. It was awesome. Like, but then you look at kind of where things have gone, and it's like they are pushing different things and, like, they just kinda change what they put out. And I feel like with a company, right, you're selling products, you get bought by a company, they make cuts, they're making changes in the background, right? While it kind of cuts the I don't want to say the soul of the company, but it does change the foundation versus like with a media company, it's like they control everything that goes out now. Like, you could, if there's like, let's say, Dave, I think we gave this example last time was like, let's say, APG, right? Let's just say that they own Grimspeed. And so now, right, they buy this off-road company that does like tents for cars. And now like Grimspeed comes on, they can't say anything about this. They're kind of like handcuffed of like, I can't really say anything because our ownership group owns this media group and
Mm,
they're pushing this off-road stuff and like, people are asking for my opinion on it and I can't really say because, even if I don't agree with it, right, then like
like you
Or if
can't
you're
be
content
objective.
based,
Yeah.
yeah, if you're content based, even let's just say, okay, we acquired this off road company. They do media off road content. Well, wait, we were going to do that. That was going to be another thing we were going to do. Well, you can't do that now because that's someone else's space. So you kind of get a little bit typecasted. And I think that in the space of like Donut, it would be all fine and well if you do everything you can, rhetorically speaking, to keep everybody that is the content, kind of core, that makes it. But when you start to see all the people who've left that were really the foundation of it, well, what do they have left? Well, let's just keep rinse, cycle, repeat. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of, let's just do what was working, and it's harder for them to really push the boundaries when I mean it's easy to say when someone is starting out in the content creation or just in any kind of space, you're trying to find your own way and you're trying to be inventive and you're trying to do things, your own way. And you don't have anyone else telling you any other way, so you kind of go by the seat of your pants. And that sometimes brings about what we highlight as kind of the most organic type stuff is just, hey, a dude with a camera, on his phone in front of him and just talking from the heart,
Yeah. I think
and
it reminds me a lot of like the Porsche effect. So I forgot who I heard this from. It was like a few years ago. It's Porsche. Like everyone knows the brand. They know it for
Mhm.
like the history, the heritage, what it stands for, like the motorsport, the design. There's just so much behind it. But a few years ago, when things start to not be so great, what they try to do is they start to flail and they start to grab. And what they look to is their customers. What does the customer want? Like forget like us, forget what we do, like really like trying too hard to try to figure out what they want when all the customer wants is what Porsche always stood for. So when you start to look as a company, when you start to look outside of your own, brand
Mhm.
for inspiration, or
Mhm.
you look at your competitors, right? What's Audi doing? What's BMW doing? And
What's
trying
Toyota
to,
doing? Let's make a Corolla.
yeah, there you go.
Maybe not. That would hurt. That would hurt them a
Yeah,
lot more than it would help them to make a
totally.
low budget economy $40,000 car or $30,000 car. That would hurt their brand.
Yeah. Yeah. But even like,
Same
even
reason a
still, right? Like,
Boxster is never going to be faster than a 911.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
won't let it
But
happen.
the same thing with the current lineup, and it's great. Like all the cars are awesome, but legacy going away, right? Like with Ford, the only car they produce is the Mustang. They don't have any other cars at all. So Subaru is, they're definitely going more for like that SUV larger vehicle market. Like they just keep getting bigger and bigger instead of
They
maybe
do.
looking inside to see, are they chasing the market too much? Are they chasing competitors instead of seeing what they have is so special?
That's a really good point.
And
And
they're
kind of
losing, they're
coupled to
losing,
that
they're
is
losing
something that,
themselves in that, right? Like,
yeah. something that irritated, I think, a lot of people naturally, and this is, again, kind of a target audience, I think, or at least for them, because they're obviously targeting the wilderness market. There's no question.
Yeah.
Well, I'll never forget the famous situation where there used to be, I won't name names, but there's a local dealer here that we get our parts from, and they used to have a lifted cross track out front, right out front of the showroom on like a big rock pile. Look, it looked great, you know? And I remember one day I went in to pick up parts and I was like, I didn't see it. The whole thing was gone. The whole setup was gone. I was like, hey, do you guys sell that thing? Like, someone wanted it because it was really built, had like lights on it, everything. Like, it was pretty much like turnkey for someone who wanted a off-road Subaru. They didn't have to build it, just buy it. I was asking one of the parts guys, and they're like, yeah, no, we got told to take it down. I'm like, what do you mean take it down? They're like, we got to send a letter by corporate, said we heard about the get rid of that car, take all of the aftermarket stuff off of it, the lift kit, everything, return it to stock. You cannot sell this, promote this. How dare you do this?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not kidding. 3 months later, they announced the first Wilderness Edition, factory lifted Subaru. They were like,
Yeah.
we're not going to endorse or support. And to this day, they've doubled down on that. If you go into any Subaru dealer, it's a fun fact for anyone, you know, if you go into a Subaru dealership with a newer Subaru with a lift kit or any kind of modification, quote unquote, even I put some lights on a light bar, well, that's going to tax the alternator. We just voided your powertrain warranty.
Yeah.
The
Magnuson,
dealership is really good. Well, you didn't buy the light kit from us.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're really doubling down on that. And that's something like talking about alienating your customer. That's kind of hurting them. And from our standpoint as an independent, we see customers who are like, yeah, no, I'd rather buy a 5-year-old Subaru because I can modify it, do whatever I want with it. And I don't have to listen to the manufacturer tell me what I can and cannot do with my car. Because
Yeah.
already out of warranty. I don't care, you know, but how dare they sell a comparable, I'm buying an Outback, not a Wilderness version, let's say, just before that, I'm going to lift it to the exact same specs of Wilderness. How dare they say that this wouldn't have been under warranty when they sell one?
Yeah.
And, you know, Jeff, for you guys, I mean, it's kind of nice, right? Not having this ownership group over you. You guys can kind of redirect. You're opening up new doors. You guys are getting back involved with the community. It's something that everybody's asking for. Because this community wants somebody on their side, right? With all of these companies and everything going on, it's so hard to know who to trust and who to turn to and who's got your best interests in mind. And so, dude, shop local is such a real thing because I feel like when you start endorsing these large companies, right, their bottom dollar is what matters. And like, not saying that every big company is that way, but like I said, at the end of the day, right, every investor needs their money. They need their cut. They need to see results. I mean, you look at what happened with Overtake, you know, they got bought out in 2020 at the peak of their sales. And then the company was like, you need to keep
Grimsby
doing
did
this.
for anyone, just to clear things up.
I'm sorry.
Good.
Grimspeed got bought out in 2020. They're at the peak of their sales and they're like, you guys need to keep these numbers going. And they're like,
Yeah, it's
how do
impossible.
we do that? Like, it
Yeah.
requires, like, at minimum, right? It requires a restructuring to figure out which way to pivot, how to get these numbers to happen again, how to repeat, right? And part of it is just the way of the world and things going
Yeah,
on in the
market.
world. And so,
Totally.
you know, it's an unrealistic expectation and it starts to change the company because now they're altering, not in the benefit of you and the benefit of the community, they're altering in the fact that there's somebody down their throat saying you need to produce these numbers. And that is not a good way to support a community. And
Totally.
I think with you guys, you know, especially from the conversations that we've had, it feels so genuine. It feels like you guys are really out here trying to connect back with the community. You guys are sponsoring a rally car in the ARA. You guys are out here going to events. You're going to Subaru events. You're going to SEMA. You're doing all of the right things that the community wants to see you do. And it's genuinely because you guys are car guys and obviously you want to do it. And I
I
think
just
that,
like to do it.
yeah, dude. And
I want
it
to. I
says,
want to go to this stuff.
it says a lot
Yeah.
about you, you know, coming from Circuit Demon. I'm sure, you know, like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you know, business is business, but the community is what thrives your business. And if you don't
Totally.
have that, then you lose, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think just to kind of bring back to like I guess what happened and I mentioned before, I think I do have a bit of a unique perspective because I kind of saw it within as a consumer, you know, like
Mhm.
I still purchase from the sites. at the time, and then also as a business owner and somebody that we were trying to sell parts to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I heard about the acquisition when we were a Subi Speed dealer and we couldn't get parts anymore. So we would get Subi Speed headlights and other parts to modify for customers, and we got cut off from that. So I was like, okay, like that sucks, but whatever, it is what it is. I think it was really when I went online and I went to Rallysport Direct and then went to Subi Speed, and both sites were a copy and paste. Like the same homepage, the same navigation, the same colors. It's like they just took one and then just changed the logo and put it on the other and was like, here you go, Subaru owners, you suckers. Like you'll never know the difference. Yeah. So I think for me, I was like, oh, wow. And it was as an automotive enthusiast and, um, like like I said, I've had 8 Subarus. I've had, like a NA Impreza all the way up to like a 600 horsepower STI. I've had, a lot of different experience like with them and building um, my ownership, my experience through ownership. I felt like going to those sites, it was hard for me to find products because it just wasn't the right language. It wasn't the right structure. Like this, if I was looking for a certain part, it would be in like just such a strange category, like such a strange area.
Mhm.
It just didn't make sense to me as an enthusiast.
Yeah.
So I think that was like from an outside perspective, kind of what I saw, like things like kind of going the wrong way was that just to start. And I was like, oh man, like this is bad. And then from there, it's hearing from customers or people that are having trouble communication. Like I said before, like the big personalities that made the brands, that made people flock, that cultivated that community being let go or like forced out
Yeah.
in a pretty negative light. So I think, for me, and I talked to some of those guys like over the years, and the cuts are deep. Like these are people's like it's their life,
Yeah.
and it's like everything that they know. Like for some of these guys, I'm sure, months later, somebody would message them or text them, be like, hey, how's it going over there? And they have to explain like, oh, like I'm not there anymore. Like actually, like this is what happened. It's tough, like I think it really affects you. And then the other side of that too is the vendors. Like
Yeah.
there's what's a retailer without the vendors that they buy products from and sell?
Yeah.
And I think that there was a lot of issues there where, promises that weren't kept, a lot of, like just the idea of like that these retailers relied on these brands to partner their products and sell them and distribute them. And now like they're ruining it so bad that like they're losing that revenue stream for a small business.
That brings up a question
is huge.
I have for you, like particularly how one of the keynotes that we've experienced was as one of those vendors was that, oh, we go on the website and see that it says 12 in stock and we'd order it. And then we wait a week and then we'd be like, wait a minute, why didn't we see that part? That should be here. It's customers coming in 2 days. So we'd reach out to, and go, hey, what's going on? This part's on back order. It's going to be like 6 to 8 weeks. Well, it says 12 on, actually we go to the website and check and go, it still says 12. That's interesting.
Yeah. So
there's
a lot
not
of
an accurate tally, and that doesn't represent as a consumer or a vendor even. Like, how does that resonate? You go look at that, like, well, I can't do business like this, or rather, as again, even on a consumer level. Well, I was planning to do this weekend. This is the one weekend I had off. I was going to do this install. It was supposed to get here on Wednesday, and I followed up on Thursday, and I'm like, oh, they're like, oh, it's 6 to 8 week back order.
Nice to know now.
Yeah, it's really great. Thanks, guys. Could have shot me an email after I placed the order and said, hey, sorry, we checked or something. But no, that doesn't happen. You have to initiate it on the consumerism level and say, where's my stuff?
Yeah. And that to be honest, like to give you
we got the money. We don't care.
Yeah.
They'll get their stuff. They'll get their stuff.
That was a big
we're
part
not going
of
to rip them off.
Big part of the handoff with us acquiring the brands is combing through the orders. Like still, like now, like there are still orders that they, they sold and they didn't have a way to fulfill it. So, like a big part of what we've been doing behind this, I'm like a month and a half in, but this whole time, like I am working to the bone with the team there, because everyone's, like I said, everyone's in the same spot. Everyone's enthusiasts. Like we see what happened, and a lot of it right now is just making sure that we make things right before we, how tone deaf would it be for us to like announce this big release? And that's why we haven't done it yet. We haven't talked about it publicly. And even now, like this, like we'll be approaching the relaunch of at least Rallysport Direct when this probably comes out, which should be very soon. But I don't think we can really do that when we have like customers that we're still trying to fulfill orders from the handoff. So yeah, we're doing our best. I mean, we're blazing through stuff. We're reaching out.
100%.
We're making sure that we're doing the right things first before we do like all the flashy and fun stuff. So I think to me, like that's the big priority is taking care of vendors and customers. And yeah, a lot of the vendors that I'd reach out to, some of them I have like a personal relationship with just from my meeting through events or through my previous experiences. And I would reach out to people and the first thing they would do is hit us back and say, yep, if you want to settle the balance that you guys have with us, we can set you up with another account. That'd be fine. So even for me, like hearing that is like, okay, like, yeah, they didn't really
Wow.
get taken care of. You know what I mean? Like that's,
Yeah.
it's just really rough, but I will say that fortunately, any vendor that has had like a little bit of hostility or questions or just, like, is this legit? Every single one, just from working with them, from speaking with them, letting them know like really what we're doing and the path forward. Every single vendor that we've talked to has given us another opportunity to promote and distribute their products. So I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of like mending a lot of wounds. And once again, just like with the shops that are kind of back to what I was talking about, for some of these companies being smaller brands, Justin and Art, a prime example, that
Hmm.
every dollar counts, right? Like it's supporting people who are trying to do the best job they can at bringing the best product at the best price. So I think for me, like the opportunity to not only help customers achieve their goals and their experiences they're trying to create with their car and how this part is going to help them enjoy their car that much more. Even the vendors, I think that there's going to be a big thing that we're doing is looking for under distributed vendors, whether it be from overseas or like in the US. And when I say overseas, I should say like Europe, like European market,
Yeah.
a lot like Rally
Yeah.
products,
Yeah.
Australia, and then in the US is try to do our best to provide value. I think that's the big thing is like you guys said, like these big companies, they treat the community like a commodity, and
Hmm.
kind of buy and sell and trade. And I think what we need to do is do the best job that we can of providing value back to the community, back to our vendors and back to our customers. And that's really
100%.
what I want to do is do that. And I think, yeah, I guess segueing into Rally Sport to me is I think of like the days with like Rick and like the install videos, the unboxings. That was like before anyone
Yeah.
was doing that. It's like I knew what I would get if I bought this part, what I'd need to get, how tough the install was going to be. And, secondly, like what it's going to do for my ownership experience. Like they would put GoPros under, bless you. They put GoPros like under the car to show like the body roll through the sway bar, like the level of detail, just like actually like give a visual representation of how this product can make your ownership experience better.
That
We have to
speaks
get back
louder
to
than
that.
any advertisement is,
Totally.
hey, we're gonna put our money where our mouth is and we're gonna show you these products.
Totally. So yeah. I think I know we're riffing, boys, and it's fun to talk about all this stuff. But I think for APG, like I think what happened is just getting away from the customer, not really keeping up with vendors, and unfortunately at that point, a lot of the competitors came in, which you know it
Yeah.
needed to happen. But I think how rare is
Sure.
it? Like when do we ever hear that companies go the other way? Like from private equity to like
Yeah.
something like this where like enthusiasts kind of take the torch back. So I can't remember any time that's ever happened.
Yeah.
And I think
We're
that's
we're
probably
beyond
indicative of
excited
the
for you
time.
guys, and it goes without
Yeah.
saying we're huge supporters.
Don't be
I
yet.
think
We still gotta do the thing.
no, I
We
know,
still
but
got
we're
I feel
huge
like keep telling
supporters.
people like we got a lot of work to do still.
Or we've been huge supporters
Yeah, yeah.
since inception days, and we understand what you guys as a core want to represent and what you want to get back to. I think another question that I would ask is something that we've talked about a little bit is just kind of the current landscape of where things are heading. Because I think things are really really interesting, not just on the private equity front, which I think we've beat to the horse, to say, but there are so many things that are changing, I think, in the automotive space. And One thing that I've talked about recently is if cars, majority of cars, let's say the 90 percentile or so or more are mostly built robotically,
Mhm.
assembled. How far are we off to before there's compartment, or component A through D, whatever, or 1 through 10, and self-diagnosis, replace component 7. Okay, computer, robots put component 7 in, they can take component 7 out. And something that I saw was really interesting was Subaru recently decided, we're all familiar with the famous TGV, or the tumble generator valve system. They've now incorporated that into the entirety of the intake manifold. And we've
Really?
seen those systems go bad where the motor fails or something happens, flapper sticks or whatever. And next thing you know, now you're replacing a $900 intake manifold. And respectfully, a computer or a machine, a robot probably put that on
Yep.
from the factory.
Yeah.
It's 8 bolts. And if there's no other contingencies of wiring harnesses or other things in the way, let's assume, how hard is it for a robot to replace that? And what does that look like in the scope of after people repairing stuff, not just repairing stuff, but modifying stuff? Because another thing that I've always said is horsepower is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you can just have a soccer mom in her Tesla Model 3 do a
Blowing
sub
the doors
10
off.
second quarter mile with her kids in the back seat playing Candy Crush on the iPad.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there are guys in their 70s that have been building their car for the last 40 years trying to get it to do sub 10-second quarter mile. And that's where, again, you hear drag strips saying no more Teslas, or things.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah. Yeah. The
these things
battery
don't
stuff.
have roll cages. They're not equipped. Also, these drag strips, respectfully, they're not equipped to put out the fire
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
this thing goes up. So
Yeah.
just
I
You
think.
know,
I
something.
think. What's
Sorry,
that?
Jeff. I was just going to piggyback on the back of Dave.
Yeah. Hit it.
So something for you guys that's interesting, that we've seen something like Overtake where they have gone a new direction, right? And it's easy to start fresh because you can promote whatever you want. You can open up the floodgates. This is the direction we're going. Everybody's rallying behind them because they're community first. Like this whole, you can put out like whatever you want people to see and kind of push them in this direction. With you guys, it's the first time that you guys have broken away from the equity group, but you guys are attempting to still push Rallysport Direct and bring it back around. And so trying to get people to switch
Yeah.
from loving it to what's happening with this, and then trying to rally them back around literally to
Pun intended.
to your website and your brand. It's really kind of interesting. And I'm curious on my end of things, you can tell, right, that like every brand kind of has their thing. They have even guys who sell parts on the aftermarket or whatever their deal is. They have this thing where they, we always talk about Grimspeed was known for gaskets, right? Like that was their thing. They had really good exhaust gaskets and everything else that they would put out. Overtake is kind of, also doing exhaust gaskets, and they're in this same kind of like realm, and they're competing, and they are starting to find out that there are other parts for these cars that have not been made, things that have been overlooked. They're creating
Yeah.
their own
What's
stuff.
that?
They're starting to move in this new direction of like, hey, why are we even trying to compete with the same products when we could just make our own new products and we could move in this new direction, and people are going to get excited because it's new and it's not the same old.
Yeah.
And
The
something
taillight
that,
clip they were talking about, right?
yeah, and something that you said with Subi Speed, you go to the website, they're the same. What's the point? They're the
Yeah.
same deal. And
Oh, this
so,
is the most exciting part, Patrick.
and
You
my
get me all my
well,
hair my
my
standing up.
my everything being imported, because I feel like we're creeping up. This 25-year rule has been creeping up for a while. All of these really, really cool cars are coming over from Europe. They're coming over from Australia. They're coming over from everywhere. And we're starting to see R34s, R32s on the street. Like there's so many cars that are coming here, including Subaru models. So I'm curious if maybe that's a direction that you guys have thought about, or if you guys have looked into anything in that direction. Something we talked about was like the European market sells aftermarket rally parts,
Yeah.
and they're all custom one-ofs. So if it's something that you guys could scan or produce or put out, like it would make it different than what everybody else is doing, and you'd be able to kind of like figure out your own custom products that nobody else has. So, I know
Yeah.
you guys are in the back end of this, like trying to recover, and nobody faults you for that. I think people actually appreciate it. I think that it's just more of like people are curious, what is this? Where is it going? How is this going to morph and what is it going to turn into? So yeah, just curious on that.
Totally. Yeah, I think appreciate the question. I think that's the most exciting part to me is I think that what they did in combining every site,
Hmm.
and even on the back end, like on the website, like there's a lot of similarities. I could tell you with a lot of experience over the last few weeks.
Yeah.
What is that, dude? Steel drum. But I think that's the most exciting part in my mind. And this may be like me being old. Is Rally Sport was it was like all like function over form, and they had nice looking stuff. But ultimately, like, if it didn't enhance your driving experience, then it really wasn't worth selling. Even down to like those beautiful Japanese squash air fresheners just made the drive so much better. We got to find those again, dude. We got to
Yeah.
bring those back. So that to me, like that was the site, and they provided support to Subaru. They provided support to Mitsubishi, Evolution, Mazda Speed. So it wasn't just Subaru. It was like that whole community of like mostly all-wheel drive, like turbo import vehicles, but a
Rally
lot of the
culture,
same.
kind of.
Yeah. And I think the companies that supported one platform would support the others and back then. So I think for me and then I think to Subi Speed, which the like sister company, I think with that, it's more about like the Subaru culture. I think that is more that customer who's looking for identity and community in modifying their car. And then with FT Speed, it's kind of like both, it's like, that's the hub for a lot of those parts are used to be and will be. But yeah, I think for Rally Sport, what I'm really excited to do is to really differentiate the brands from one another. And I think we have a really unique opportunity, like our competitors. They have one website to try to resonate with you as a customer.
Yeah.
And you might have a hard time finding the part you want because that website is more geared towards like a newer owner, or like somebody shopping for their first exhaust, somebody who's looking for that interior carbon fiber stick-on trim kit or something like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think with us, the real opportunity that we have is to try to build a website that's more based around and grows with the owners that we support. So that to me, I think I'd like called back to, I kind of know like what I'm talking about. I think so, at least I've been told that, but I think for me, like going to some of these sites, I'm just like, why is this here? Like if you know the car, like how it's laid out and like how you would build it, you would put this here.
Yeah.
Uh, Rally
Agreed.
Sport, is definitely be more towards like the intermediate to advanced owners, and we are going to go back to supporting more than just the Subaru platform. But that will be our North Star, no pun intended. Will be Subaru, and kind of like that. That's the brand, right? But I think because we have a lot of really great connections in the industry and really great customers who look to us for guidance,
Hmm.
we can provide that same support for other platforms and chassis. I will say I do have a GR Corolla. I love it dearly. I take it on track. It's such a good car. I love Subarus, but I still do. But that it's a really fun car and it's really great. And I think for me, when I first started looking for parts for that car, I didn't really know who to turn to. Like all these sites were so new to me and I didn't know who to
Mhm.
trust. The products it just wasn't like the same like feel like that confidence in buying from a different site. There are great ones out there. I'm not to say that anyone's bad, but it was just like new to me. So I think for us, like if we can try to support some other popular platforms that maybe Subaru owners also moved into or switched out of, I think to me like that's what it is. And once again, I think providing a little higher, like I don't want to put content out after the relaunch that's like, what to look for in a I don't know, like a radiator tray. You know what I mean? Or like
Yeah.
like these videos that are like a little too basic, right? It's hard to like resonate with
Mhm.
customers that know what they're talking about. Like you'll just blow right by it. So for
Yeah.
me,
Well, like
like
you said,
once again,
highlighting earlier the video of how the suspension component really.
yeah,
What's the difference between a stock sway bar and a 22 millimeter white line?
yeah. And I
Why
think
would
for
you just
me,
go with a
You
thicker sway
know,
bar? What does that mean?
it's funny because I've always had a theory that a lot of Subaru owners started as Boy Scouts because
Probably so.
they start building their first Pinewood Derby car and they go and they race it and they realize like if you trim this off or you add the weights here or you make the axles this way, you start to like realize like you can make the car faster and you can compete, right?
yeah,
Then they get into RC cars. It's just a bigger version of a wood car. and you can swap these parts and different suspension and whatever. And then once they grow out of RC cars, what's the next step? It's a car that is marginally the same across the whole platform, right? It's something just like an RC car. No matter what RC car you get, if it's brushless, if it has the same axle design, everything, it's you know how to work on it. And I think
Yeah.
that with the Subaru community, right, that has been a big part of it. And I think that it was always more of, like you said, like a grassroots kind of thing. People enjoyed getting the most out of the car, right? My personal opinion on this is that I think that the reason that this has become so difficult and why the community has kind of turned a little bit is that the off-road people, right, are still there. They still love the off-road. They love to go camping, all that stuff. But a lot of the performance people know, right? You can get more power in a car for the same price. You look at takeovers, right? Never do you see a Subaru out of takeover. Never. Because not outside of the whole drifting thing or whatever, it's cars that these guys know they can get that is going to make 600 horsepower, 700 horsepower, 800 horsepower. Why would you go and buy a 300 horsepower car, right? Like, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like people don't really understand that.
Because it handles better.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? You have to explain that to somebody who's a young kid, who's coming out of school, who's trying to figure out what car to buy, and they go to the dealer and they say, "Man, this guy's gonna love a Challenger Scat Pack, 100%. His parents are buying it." It's like
700 horsepower. Let's go.
but
There you
like
go.
that's the thing is
Purrs.
it's become more affordable to do that. And I think that
Yeah.
like the whole Subaru Evo competition, I think pushed the brands in the right direction. And I think that people are trying to outdo each other, but now Subaru's just kind of there, right? And like you could say they compete with the GR Corolla and some other brands, but like realistically, I think people have just kind of outsourced and looked at different brands and have kind of grown. So like what you guys are saying, by making Subaru the main brand, but also catering to these other brands, right? I think that that brings it full circle into bringing the competition back, right?
Totally.
You're surfing on a
100%.
Subaru site and you're seeing GR Toyota Corolla stuff and you're seeing Evo stuff and you're realizing like, wow, these cars can actually compete with what I'm building and look at these parts that they're getting. And I think it's like revitalizing and it's like reigniting the spark, I think, a little.
Look at the Miata. For a number of years, correct
Do
me
we
if I'm
have to?
wrong, but it's kind of no, I mean, gentlemen, I think it's kind of a testament of older men driving the Miata because they appreciate what it is, and there's less and less young guys going and getting a NA rear-wheel drive
100
manual
horsepower.
transmission car and learning how to drive.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if they weren't into Pinewood Derby and RC, they were like a skateboarder or a biker, right? Like BMX or like mountain biker.
100%.
Like everyone that I run
Yeah.
into, it's like, what? You nailed it. And then it's either like that or like extreme sports. I never thought about it, but like when you were saying like you can go out and buy a more capable car for the money that you put into modifying it. I think for a lot of us, and I think you guys can probably attest to this, it's more the journey, right? And it's so corny.
100%.
It's so corny. Like it's not about the finish, man. It's the journey along the way. But it really
Yeah.
is like learning the car, doing the mods, like putting that downpipe on for the first time ever and starting the car and it's smoking because it's burning off like all the wax and stuff on it and you think that you screwed something up. Like it's about that and it's about that journey and trying to figure out how to get your car to do what you want it to. And once I think, bringing it back to really what we want to do is provide value by like having people enjoy their car for like more or longer, or how do we enhance, like for me, like I like to track my car. How can I be on track for longer? Like an oil cooler, like my oil temperatures, get an oil cooler. I will have more fun out on track if I'm not stressing about my oil temperatures.
Yep. Oil cooler, fans, whatever, like
or
all
if it's like
those
some
accompaniments,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's somebody like, if it's somebody just chasing numbers in the dyno, like we'll support them too. And it's like, what is that thing that they need to help? I need a larger turbine housing, exhaust housing to hit that number that I want. We're there to support them too. It's like, it's whatever goal you have, like we want to be there to support that. And I think if you look at it in that light and not about making money and not about, it's a business. We have to do that. But I think the way
Keep
that
the
we
lights
do
on.
that, the way that we do that if we can try to give people the better experiences than they would anywhere else, that's really to me is like what I'm so excited for is
Yeah.
with Rally Sport being able to put it in this different direction, being able
Yeah.
to support customers for longer than just like their first few bolt-on
Yeah.
mods and then they're off.
We agree. I'd rather sell someone, the right turbo for them because there's a right
Yeah.
turbo for the right person. Some guys want the quick spool up. If you're
Yep.
gonna be, for example, here in Colorado, canyon cruising, up in the mountains, a high spool turbo that doesn't kick in till 7,000 RPM is kind of useless
Yeah.
unless you're trying to, shoot straight down a straightaway.
Yeah.
You want that quick power, that usable power, more down low, especially here at altitude. You want to compensate for a lack of displacement. Famously, I always say there is a replacement for displacement. It's called forced induction and
There you go,
cramming
baby.
air down the engine's throat.
There you
Yes.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even like
Yes.
like everyone that buys like 2000cc injectors to
Yeah.
make like 400 horsepower, and you're like, you don't need that, man. Your
Well,
idle's gonna be so bad. Like,
so
Yeah. So there's a
something,
right balance, exactly. And so you'd rather sell someone the right injector that matches their build than just no, you don't need the biggest injector. It's not the
Yeah.
way it works, unfortunately, with injectors.
Yeah. I had a lot of experience in the Ford performance world. I worked for a Ford performance shop for a long time. And something I
Yeah.
found so heartwarming that I loved was, dude, a community that is like super alive is the Ford Lightning community.
Yes, dude. Yeah.
And what's funny is
Yeah.
the guys would come in, we would build
The
their
old
trucks,
Lightning, not
tune
the
them.
new one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The Gen 2 Lightnings, they were like from 98 to 03, I think. Those guys would come in and dude, they wouldn't care. They would dump 4 engines in this thing. They're throwing big
Yeah.
whipples on them. They're making big power, super clean trucks. And every single one of them would tell me the same thing. Their favorite car to mess with on the highway is a Subaru. They would say that the Subaru owners, they they told me it was so funny because the Subaru owners would pull up, they would see this crazy looking truck, and they would try to race, and they would just whipple power, just full speed, And like it
Not
was,
even the same league.
but
Yeah.
I loved it, right? Because it keeps it alive. It keeps these super guys
Yeah.
being like, "Man, I lost to a pickup truck. Are you kidding me? Not just that, a '99 pickup truck.
Yeah.
What? Like,
Mhm.
but like." You don't realize these trucks came with superchargers. Same thing. The community rallied around them. They took them to the drag strips. They were trying to outdo each other. Whipple got involved, started making better superchargers. Then they started making better setups for it. And then boom, you have this huge community that are constantly trying to outdo each other. And it's really amazing. And from working there, the contrast, right, is you see the Mustang people, no offense, but I've seen a lot of them. I've worked with a lot of them. I told Dave, we had a customer who he lived in Minnesota. He had like a 24 Super Snake or whatever it was. And he was
Super
like,
Snake.
or sorry, GT500. And he was like, I want to make 1,000 horsepower because my neighbor with his Corvette is talking shit and I need to make more horsepower than him. So then it's in the shop,
Great
right?
reason.
We get up to 1,000 horsepower. Everything's dialed in, looking perfect. He calls us up. My neighbor just went up to 1,100 horsepower and he's talking shit again. We got to go up to 1,200 horsepower. We crank it up, 1,200 horsepower. Here we go. We're building it. Things like super crazy. Calls us back up. We need to get to 1,300 horsepower. I don't care. I don't want him to ever say another word about me. And dude, this guy has no
Just
attachment to this
make it
car.
2,000.
He's not there.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. He's not there building it.
Undrivable.
But
Yeah.
but like, dude, he's in Minnesota. What's he gonna drive it 1 week
Yeah.
out of the year? Like, it's just like it's mind blowing to me though how that mentality in that community is so different from Subaru, right? Subaru isn't big on the power numbers either. They're kind of like, listen, I just want to be able to hit the track and perform. I want to know that if I'm in the snow, I'm not going to slide out and crash. I want to know that if I go hit gravel, I can rip, and it's just a different.
Yeah.
So I think that like, whereas like the Mustang community might be big parts buyers and they'll just buy anything that looks carbon fiber and shiny because like, their neighbor has something like that.
Just like Jeep. Yeah. Just like
You
Jeep.
know, you guys
Similar
are in
stuff.
you guys are in that sect of like you're saying, like advanced buyers. They don't want the carbon fiber shiny things that are just for aesthetics, right? Well, they might, depending on what it is. But you get what I mean? Like
We all fall for that every once in a while.
Yeah.
the function over form it feels like you guys are heading more in a realm where you're able to really kind of do both. And I think that it would be cool to see where this goes and what your website looks like and the products that you offer, a year from now, and how things have changed from this point where you guys are really trying to backtrack and make things right. Once you guys have your foothold and you're back on your feet, then it's like, all right, cool. Let's start pushing forward. Where are we going? What is the outlook of this company? And so I think
Yeah.
everybody in the community who has a receipt in their room from 2011 is like, man,
Might just be me.
I
Sorry.
would love to see this company turn it around and really bring it back to what it was.
Yeah.
We're all rooting
I
for you guys.
yeah, for
Yeah, there's
real.
a lot of goodwill. Like from talking to the team at the end of last year before I was really on board. They went to a few of the Subi events and talked to some folks, and there's a lot of like really goodwill. Like people like, oh, Rally Sport, yeah, like man, too bad, but they remember the good
Yeah,
times and the fondness of it. And I think, yeah, we're gonna support the advanced owner. We have some really really cool companies that we're bringing on board that I think
yeah,
people are gonna be very surprised that they're gonna be on our website. They're not anywhere else, and I think it's really a testament to what this team is working on, that these people are kind of trusting us to represent their brands. And I'm really excited for that. But I do also think, if you are a beginner owner, like if you don't know too much, like we're going to have a lot more advanced knowledge that maybe isn't out there. So
yeah.
yeah, we'll kind of hit everyone, but I would say like, yeah, like probably more intermediate advanced for stuff. But I do know you asked about Tom, OK Rally. So I definitely want to talk to, actually, I think we made that official today, but yeah, we don't have like a gigantic budget. We these companies, our big focus is trying to make these companies and the product in stock, like you guys talked about, right? Like it said 12 in stock, like that, all that is changing. There's been so much work on the back end that the whole team here has been working on. Yeah, man. And just trying to get like products into um is like a big priority. But we definitely want to try to invest in the community, um where it can help. Let's see, hold on. We're trying to invest in certain individuals that can help the entire community. So when I say that, with Tom is like an hour from me. He actually got his car tuned at my old shop on our dyno, and that's how I met him. And then when this opportunity popped up, I'd been following him, and I see his car is so rad. I've always wanted a yellow bug eye Sonic, or oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my credibility if I don't remember the other one. Dang, you guys know. I'm lost now, dude. I'm gone. Cooked. But
You
yeah, I
know,
always wanted a yellow bug eye, but I think, yeah, when this opportunity came up, I knew I had to hit him up and just be like, hey, like I see what you do. Like, we've talked before. The car's so rad. Like what you're doing is so cool, and I think I'd love to find a way where we can work together. And I don't know rally, like, and I think it's important to recognize that I've done a rallycross event, SCCA rallycross event, but I've never like gone to like one of the big ARAs. So I think for me, like knowing what those guys are looking for, instead of me guessing or pretending or like, Googling, what's better than working with somebody who's out there, sees all the cars, like understands the setup, knows like what these cars go through,
Mm-hmm.
what suspension parts are consumable to you, to a normal driver that's not even like a thought.
Yeah.
So I think for what we're trying to do is we're trying to find these owners, these individuals, these teams that are, masters of their craft, that know the landscape better than we do. There's some stuff where like, I'll chat your ear off about a certain topic just because like I've done the deep dives. But if
well,
I don't know something, I want to know that we can count on like the best, to
yeah,
be able to provide us that information. And I think with Tom is one of those things where there's a really high end suspension company from Europe that to be frank, I'd never heard of. It's on it like pretty notable cars,
yeah.
but he was like, you should hit them up. Like no one sells them in the States. So I emailed them and they were just like, yeah, like that would be incredible. If you guys could like, even distribute for us, like over there, just a hub for people to know like where to go and like who to call, and having like that direct communication from us to that brand overseas in the UK.
It
Like
reminds me of King
they're stoked.
Springs,
Yeah. Yeah.
like from Australia. It reminds me a lot like them. And I know you may not be able to divulge the name of the company, but as you're talking, I'm thinking like, that's like King Springs back in the day. You had to go through
Yeah.
direct through King in Australia. It was, I mean, you almost paid more than what you paid for the springs in
Yeah.
shipping.
Yeah. Yeah. And the
But
time zone difference, right?
if
For
you,
support, it's
but if you
tough.
wanted the best of the best, you
Yeah.
knew you were getting King Springs.
Yeah.
So that was the hardship. Now you have companies like Primitive and all these other guys,
Yep.
Rally, who are able to supply these things
Totally.
here locally. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God, thank God.
It's incredible.
To
Yeah,
anyone who
they're
doesn't
great.
remember the old days, trying to get King Springs was, oh, it was expensive,
I
guys.
bet.
Let me
I
tell
bet.
you,
Yeah.
really expensive. I bought a set direct from Australia. Yeah, I don't even want to look at
Scorpions
my.
in the box
That's
or
another.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's another one I should print my receipt out and hang that on the wall,
Yeah, there you
because
go.
I have a
The
I
shipping
have a
costs.
receipt from them. It's like, damn, I bought it direct, and I think it took like 6 weeks to get here, through customs and all kinds of stuff and holdups, but thank goodness I got them. And
Yeah.
again, they were every bit worth it. But
Yeah.
now we're fortunate we can get them for a lot cheaper because
Yeah.
they've cut out all that back end. Let's call it
Totally.
red tape, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Accessibility.
Jeff, advice. I would say that what would be really cool to see this year, something that I'm hoping you guys could maybe pull off, is, dude, you guys, if you're doing Boxer Fest, should bring the rally car.
Hell yeah.
That would be sick.
I will let him know that he needs to do that now.
Dude, I'll
That would
tell
be
you what,
killer.
best thing we ever did, we met up with Johnny Walker, and he's got I don't know if you know who that is, but Johnny Walker is like,
I've heard of his drink before, but
when I tell you, dude, like the most well-known connected person in the Subaru community. I don't even know. Like, dude, I was just watching Gears and Gasoline the other day, and he's just on the show out of nowhere, just like there. And they're
It's
like, oh my
Johnny.
God, look who we ran into. Like,
that's crazy.
we met him through Devin from Divine Force Racing at
Yeah.
Grid Life. And he literally came on podcast. We met him, and then he came to our Airbnb and posted his car outside of our booth.
That's so
And
sick.
this is like, you have to look up the build for this thing. It's a legacy wagon. It's like an 05 GT that
Oh, yeah.
the off-road build. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, it's just so crazy how people like that, draw that kind of attention. I have not, in the years that I've been to Boxer Fest, I have not
I
seen
haven't either.
a rally car posted out front of any of the booths. Even if they sponsor them, I never see them actually show up. Like, Dave and I are friends with Ethan Hunter, and we've been trying to coerce him to come and be in front of our booth because he's got a crazy rally car that he just totally wrapped. Well, they just flipped it. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I've talked to them. It's fine.
But dude, I think that would be a great light to bring. You guys are Rallysport Direct. Get the rally car in front of the booth. Like, that would be so sick.
Yeah. I want to go to an event. Like I say, he's an hour from me. So I told him, like, man, like me coming out, like checking out the car, like we'll, talk through like with people that are interested in getting into it, like what it takes, because a lot of these, like the rally cars, like it's mostly safety gear, right? Like they run a lot of like not high power, like there's a lot of restrictors. It's pretty limited as far as like what you can do on that end, but man, like suspension, safety, all that is like really where it's at. So I think for him, I talked about like if we can go to an event and like kind of embed with the team and kind of show like what they go through, for people that are curious, I think it would be all. I will say Darren, the owner, he just bought a Blaubai WRX, like totally stock.
That's cool.
We're going to be doing like a rally cross build on. So he's going to be running a couple events this year, just small, nothing like professional or anything like that. But, he just wants to get, yeah, that's the place for him, man. But he wants to, he wants to get into it, and we're going to be kind of going through that process with
shameless plug. I got a spot for you guys if you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah. I
Come
think,
on out.
I would love to meet up with you at some point at one of these events. I think Dave and I crushed it at Snowdrift, and I think that next year we're going to be back sponsoring again. I loved it.
Yeah.
I'm
even
actually
bigger, even better.
We're going to be sponsoring STPR. I'm in talks with them, working that out. And I think that that's like huge, dude. Like, you go to supporting the community by doing that and like bringing more eyes to the sport. And like, that's what it's all about. Right. And I think that, what you guys are doing is great because you're backing a guy who may not have gotten a sponsor like you guys. And like, it's just the perfect relationship. And I think that, like I said, like by you guys bringing the car to Boxer Fest, you get everybody there, all their eyes on this crazy built rally car. Right.
Yeah.
And then like he goes and hits the track And then people are like, whoa, that car, I saw that at Boxer Fest, like
Yeah.
it's really cool. So
It's so
there's
funny you
just
say like, yeah, it's I think it's such a it's to me it's so cool that we're able to work with him. You know what I mean? Like it's funny you put it like, oh, like it must be wild for him to have like this sponsor. To me, I'm just like it's incredible for us to be able to work with somebody like that that knows so much about it, that we can learn so much from to better help the the people that come to our sites.
It's
Yeah,
the
we're gonna
definition
be
of
looking for
partnership.
yeah. That's the thing, and I think we're gonna be looking for like a few other folks like kind of within like different niches that'll just be able to help us and really help our customers find products or like get through the things that we've all been through, like an issue with a car that just like ate us up. We couldn't figure it out, or like we're chasing gremlins, and there's a lot of people out there that have those stories. So, and you guys do a great job of covering those, but for us, I'm trying to figure out what's our niche. And I think we have a pretty good game plan for that, but it is going to change over time. And yeah, I would say if you've had an experience with Rally Sport or Subi Speed and it wasn't great over the last few years, I bet, unfortunately. And I think that the team that was here, I think, tried to do their best. A lot of fresh faces. There's only like maybe like 2 carryovers. So everyone here is like, we're in it for the right thing. And I'd love the opportunity to yeah, earn your business, to be, to be frank about it. But if we can help in any way, even with you guys, I know you're asking about an intake, Patrick, let me know.
yeah, I
But yeah,
need
if
that.
there's any way that we can help people out, we just want to show it too, like prove it, just
Listen,
We're on
keep
board
at it.
100%.
Jeff,
We're on board
I'm gonna
100%.
go on the website. It's gonna say 12 intakes in stock. I'm gonna order one, and we're
It'll
gonna
say
see.
13 right after.
I'm gonna put Jimmy Jenkins as the name, so you don't know it's me. I'll just switch it up.
Wait till the website it's good, right? Like the inventory is very good right now, but we will be there's some new brands you might be into if you give us
Okay.
like 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna put a firm date, but in about 2 weeks it'll be looking. If I could show you what we're doing, especially with where your guys' head is at with like rally and stuff like that, like the visuals are just like, it's gonna be sick.
That's
It's gonna be
awesome.
really sick.
Dude, we're
I'm very
excited, and I think I think I can say confidently you have Dave back on the wagon. So
Get on it, get in.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Dave, get your wallet out. To kind of round this whole thing out, I don't know if you've seen our previous podcast when we have guests on, but the question that we always ask is that Dave has a Subaru Baja.
Yeah,
that
the
we
oil.
have filled it with canola oil.
Yeah.
And Dave, what's the mileage at?
So I sent you a video update today, so we can probably do the video magic editing. We can upload that in place here.
We are doing an update on the canola oil shop Baja today. This thing is being run on 100% Crisco canola oil. I'll take a look at the oil level condition right now. It's still good. We did top this off at one point, probably about half a quart or so. Starting mileage was 209,935. Let's check where we're at right now. All right, we were at 210,832, so just under 900. Let's start it up. Still running great. Smells a little bit like French fries. But yeah, so far, no problems.
But yeah, I think it's just about 1,000 miles right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
So-
trying to it's 3, right? 3 is the
So
goal.
we're going to
Yeah,
3,000.
3,000.
Yeah.
And then at that point, we're going to determine if there's something else that we put in it. And maybe we attempt to run Neeraj's 3D printed oil pan. That's a maybe. But I think right
With
now,
baby oil. I've heard that
Yeah.
one. That's the
Yeah,
most popular
man.
comment so far is baby oil as the next oil.
I've been
I
getting
don't know why
messages.
that's popular. I don't know
I've been
why.
getting,
It's like thick. Yeah.
our last canola oil video that we put on Instagram has now hit over 100,000 views. And
Dang.
I am getting like every day now messages about the word update. It's like, we need an update. And I texted Dave last night. I was like, dude, I need you to just do this. Like,
You
I
got
need an
you, man.
update. And like, it's
How
funny
much did you
too,
guys put in? Was it like 4 points, or did you go 5 or what?
Like 4.5, yeah, or 4.5,
Yeah.
yeah, right about like a little over 4.
All right, that's helped me
But yeah,
determine.
straight. We have had to add about a half quart so far in the 1,000 miles.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Full transparency, because there's a little consumption, but no knocking. I'm pleased to report, and you'll see from our video update, is there's no knocking whatsoever.
That's good. That's good.
Fires right up.
Man, so the question is, will it make it to 3? And then what should you do after? You seem pretty responsible, dude. And I think you'll hit 3. I think you'll hit 3.
He's not basing anything on the canola oil, just that you look like a responsible adult.
You look like you're like, like you're dogging on it, or you like are you driving it like it has canola oil?
I'll preface this. I rarely drive it because it's a shop car.
Yeah.
All my employees drive it, and they beat the living out of it.
Might change.
And the last time, this is true, it's a couple days ago, I saw one of my employees pulling it in for the night, because we pull all the cars in for the night. I saw him pull up front, stop right before pulling in, rev it up, and dump the clutch and do a burnout into the shop.
Yeah.
Have you started it since then? I'm gonna have to base my answer.
Yeah.
That was about a week ago.
Yeah.
And today, the update that we'll post in the video is active today, so still fine.
Yeah,
And
I'm an
also-
optimistic guy.
My guys beat the living crap out of it.
Got it. I'm gonna say you got it.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. I think you get to 3. What
And
do
it
you
has
do
over
after
200,000 miles on the odometer. The thing doesn't seem to care.
Yeah, the layers keep piling on here. I think you got it. I'm gonna be optimistic. What you do after? I don't know, man. That's a good question. What do you do after that?
First we're gonna send the sample out to Blackstone and see what
Yeah.
happens, and then from there, I think
Snitch. Again, nobody snitch. Anyone following do not send an anonymous email to Blackstone and tell them that this is coming, because we want it to be totally anonymous. We're just going to send it. We're going to send it in. We've sent probably 1,000 samples in by now. We're going to send it in to say, hey, this came out of our shop, Baja. Here's the mileage. What do you think?
Yeah.
And see what they say.
What are you gonna write down for the oil? Because they ask you what you're running.
Well, that's a good question.
Ask. I don't know.
Might just leave that one blank.
we're just gonna put.
There have been a few
shot.
times where we've
Dave.
actually sent them in samples and we forgot the little, the fill card, and we forgot that, and they still just tested it and still
Dave,
gave us results.
Just
and we were
write
like,
organic.
Yeah.
Just write organic.
Yeah.
that's happening. Organic.
Yeah. I've had a lot of weird people message me about what to put in this thing. I think the weirdest one was somebody said to go buy a box of Go-Gurt. So
They don't
Yeah.
like you.
Yeah.
What if you go the opposite and run like something like crazy thick?
Ooh, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Like, what's the thickest
What if
like Motul?
what's in
300V?
lava lamps?
Oh,
What's in lava lamps?
What if we run? What
with
if we
clear
run the
part
lava?
Yeah, the lava part or the water part?
Dave's gonna
No,
start
no,
breaking
not the
lava
water
lamps.
part.
All right.
No, the lava part. Come on. What's in
Yeah,
lava?
yeah.
No, the lava part. Come on.
Dude, what if
Right.
we?
Ooh,
fair.
that's got.
You know what, Dave?
Actually, I don't think the water part's water. I think that's like just propylene glycol,
You know what, Dave?
if I'm not mistaken.
I might go
But-
drink.
We're gonna run bond cleaner in it. I think that's the next step. Just it'll
Ooh.
clean out the whole engine. It'll be running perfect. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry. We're gonna run, for anyone who's questioning, we're gonna run a BG treatment through the engine before
Thank
we swap
God.
oil.
All
Yeah,
right,
thank God. That'll fix everything, right? BG,
Yeah.
the solution to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we talked the other day about events. I'm trying to get out this summer, man. Are you guys going to anything else besides the rally in Colorado and the STPR?
Yeah. So I'm trying to get to Wicked Big this year. I think that's definitely in
Same.
the cards because they do give us a spot. I think it's more of like,
Nice.
I have a 4-month-old and my wife already is on my case. So I think it's
Go work
kind
the
of
booth,
hard to
dude.
navigate.
Be there too, though. We could logistically figure that out too.
Yeah. So, my thing is this year we've been doing the podcast for a year, right? It's been a labor of love. Dave and I have been just like trying to get through this, and it's been great. We've had great people on. I think that now we're at the point where like we want to be out doing community stuff,
Mhm.
and it's funny because I talked to Raphael from the Subaru podcast, and he said that for years now he hasn't been able to make it out to stuff. It's been really tough, and like I want to be out there meeting people and like explaining what we do. And
Yeah.
hey, our Facebook group, it's all about helping people. We have started ground basis all about, trying to get people the help that they need with their car. And now we have this platform where we're able to get you really good information from great people like you coming on. And I think that it's kind of now being now being out there and being able to talk with people and explain that and whatever, I think it's been great. So
It's
the
the
more
best,
events
dude.
I can do, the better.
It's the best.
I just think that what's happening is every event that I talk to the people who run it, they get excited and then I get excited. And then next thing I know, it's like, hey, sponsorship is X amount of dollars. Why don't you come and do that? And I'm like, well, sure, why not? And then the next one
Yeah.
comes up and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. We're taking like a little different approach. Is we're gonna do events is we're gonna be not say contestants. Just like we're gonna show up and go to events as I can't think of the word right now. Holy cow!
Gamers.
There you go. Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go like and just like spectate and like bring a camera and talk to people. And we are gonna do like vendor booth other ones. So there'll be a few Subi events. We're still exactly nailing down which events, but I know Wicked Big Meet, we won't be doing a vendor booth spot, but I'll be out there. I'm driving up there and we're just gonna like go around and talk to people and talk to builds and hopefully see you guys there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what we're gonna try to do, like to drive like a little more community without doxing myself, is we're gonna have like a public calendar. So you could like go to the site and like sync with the calendar and it'll show you like all the events that we're going to. And if we have like any like little meetups or stuff like that. But it just gives people like a little bit more like behind the scenes to what's going on. But yeah, I'm almost thinking like if we're gonna put like a few, like we'll put Grid Life on there. I know it's important to like a lot of people. We'll put ARA on there so like people can get the schedule. But if you guys are doing anything too, man, it'd be cool to have you guys on there too.
Something
Definitely.
I've been trying to do for years now that I have not been ever able to coordinate because I always have something going on is going to SEMA. And when I went probably 3 years ago, I have a connect at Shelby America. So we got to do like a full tour of the facility and
Sick.
stuff, which was cool. So like, dude, if we link up in SEMA, like we could go hit up Shelby and like check out what they have going on, which would be really cool.
Yeah.
So
Totally. Yeah, we'll find a time. If you can't make it up to Wicked Big Meet or Watkins Glen Grid Life, there's Lime Rock in Connecticut Grid Life. That's always a really fun one.
Well, I forget where
yeah,
are you
there's a bunch
guys
of events.
located out of?
So I didn't even mention that. I'm in Rochester, New York, but the company is based out of San Francisco now, just south of San
Okay.
Francisco Bay Area.
Okay.
So we'll be
Got it.
doing like a lot of events out there too. Yeah, connect with a lot of people. And that's
Oh yeah.
I know we're wrapping up, dude. I'm sorry, Patrick. I know you feel bad, but
No, you're fine.
we're gonna be like really. If you think about like any Subaru retailer besides like one, at least the big ones, they're all at East Coast. So I think that's a really cool opportunity that we have is to kind of represent the West Coast. A lot of West Coast brands, you're gonna see like us working with more that a lot of the other East Coast retailers just don't have yet. So that's something else. But I could talk about this all day and all night, man. So I'll let you wrap things up.
Yeah,
I
all
appreciate it.
good. I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you talking with me
Same.
and just kind of walking us through, what you guys have been through and where you're at now and how you guys are restructuring. And I think, just the read I'm getting, right, is it's just overly positive. It seems like things are on the up and up. People are happy with the change. I think people were unhappy with what it was before. And I think that you guys owning it and not pretending like that didn't happen, and you guys are like, no, we're gonna right our wrongs, we're gonna reset, get things going again, and really focus towards the community that's being neglected. I think that is like a huge change, and honestly, I think it's a welcome addition to the community again to bring it back and retackle that. Again, can't thank you guys enough. I really hope that we get to have you guys back on when the site is updated and when you guys have your rally car branded with your
Trash it, dude.
sponsorship and stuff. And like, I'm just excited to see where this goes.
Yeah. No, thank
Same.
you guys for the opportunity and I feel like we've gotten to talk a few times, like real quick, just to coordinate this, Patrick. And it's been like, I feel like every call we have, like, like 5 minutes, we'll figure out a time, like a half hour later, we're still talking. So yeah, it's been, David, great to meet you and talk to you. I really appreciate your time and anytime.
Likewise.
Yeah. If you guys, let's link up. If you want me back on, we got a lot of work to do, but we're here for it, man. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Let's do
All
it,
right, man. Well, we
Let's grow
appreciate it.
together.
And we
Let's do
will
it. Hop
definitely
on.
see you next time.
Thanks.
Thanks.